And viewers, you guys can chime in on the chat as well. And then I've got another question, a list of questions that are directed directly to the viewers. So we'll have some questions just for you guys. But cool. Until then, I guess we'll get started.
Apparently, they weren't able to hear us at first. First time. I guess we're checking out technical difficulties. I believe I fixed it. But welcome to Right Down Main Street. Gotta love technology. Welcome to Right Down Main Street. I'm Bryce Jansen. You can introduce yourself one more time.
Yes, I am Jansen. We'll do the intro again. This is a Disney podcast dedicated to bringing a little Disney magic to your daily routine, as we said a couple minutes ago.
But yes.
Technical difficulties. For those who did not hear, we are going to run some questions. I've got some for Bryce. He's got some for me. You guys feel free to chime in, interact. We'd love to hear your answers. And then I've got a list of questions that are for y'all specifically. So we'll have some conversations about each question, kind of just free flow through this episode.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I guess all my stuff got bleeped out or whatever, but Jason and I were kind of thinking of some new ways to kind of put a spin on our normal format. And we thought this would be a fun idea to do and to get more involved with everyone and just have some fun and hang out on a Thursday night while, we're not watching the Braves anymore. Thank God, because
World Series
we won,
champs.
baby. We won.
Yes.
World Series champs. I got to get a T-shirt. But yeah, we're going to, like Jansen said, throw around some questions, so I'm really excited. Hopefully we don't embarrass ourselves too bad. Jansen said he might have some hard questions for me, so I know
I'm trying to challenge you, and I hope you're trying to challenge me. I don't want these to be cakewalk questions. This week, we're not really going to have a newsroom. There really isn't much major coming out of the parks. We'll address some of that next week. But Bryce, you want to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, how about I'll give you a question that I think we've talked about a couple of times before, and this is regarding Disney films, the Disney Studios, specifically Pixar. Pixar obviously is very special to us, has a special place in our heart. Some of our favorite films are Pixar films. Can you but how many full-length Pixar films are there?
Just the number?
Just the number, and then maybe we'll get into see if you can name all of them after that.
All right, I'm going to cheat and use my paper here. So we have Toy Story 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Toy Story has 4. Bug's Life, right? Bugs. That's 5. You have Cars 1, 2, and 3. So that's 8. Nemo and Dory is 10. Soul 11. Coco 12. Ratatouille 13. Is Brave's a Pixar movie, right?
It is.
Okay, so 14. Um, how many can I name off the top of my head? Oh, Inside Out, Up. What was that? 14? Is that 16?
Have you named your favorite one?
Oh yeah,
Did you say it?
Ratatouille.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna go up to I think 24.
You are correct. There's
Wait,
24.
really?
Yeah, there's 24.
I was between 23, 24.
So there's 24 currently, and you named most of them. I'm not sure if you named Luca, which is the newest
No.
one, Onward, which I think you said you still haven't seen.
No.
It is very good. And then a handful of others. Next year, we have 2 more Pixar movies coming, which I'm excited about. Not as excited about the first one, Turning Red. I'm still a little confused on the storyline there. I've seen the previews, don't really know what that's going to be like. But I'm very excited for the origin story, Lightyear, voiced by Chris Evans. So we'll get to look inside the character. And apparently it's about the actual person, Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. So
they're getting
I'm
even
excited.
deeper into the Pixar like Toy Story universe.
Yeah,
I actually I haven't seen the trailer yet.
it's incredible. It's very
Really?
it's from what I've noticed, they have taken inspiration. Like there are certain like scenes that seem to have taken inspiration from major sci-fi movies through the years. And I'll let you kind of see if you notice those
Yeah.
as you watch it. But
Yeah, Turning Red. I don't really have an opinion on that. It was a very short little trailer, and I'm like you.
I'm
get
sure it'll be
the
good.
story yet.
I'm sure it'll be good because it's Pixar, but yeah. Alrighty. What kind of questions do you have for me?
Now that we just passed the season, we're going to hold on to it for just a little bit longer. Going to the Haunted Mansion. And this is a multiple choice. I have multiple choice questions, except for, I forgot to mention, I have a speed round consisting of 8 questions, and we're going to do that towards the end of my stuff for you, Jansen, specifically you, because I want to see how fast you can get these. All right, but anyway, multiple choice, voice actors for the Haunted Mansion. Who is the infamous voice of the ghost host in the Haunted Mansion? Is it A, Thurl Ravencroft, Croft, B, Rex Allen, C, Ex Atencio, or D, Paul Frees?
Ex Atencio. I'm certain he did not voice it. He was an Imagineer that was very influential through a lot of the production of that attraction. He wrote a lot of the lines. I think he actually probably wrote that specific dialogue. I don't think he voiced it though. Do you mind naming the other 3 that it was A, B, and D?
Thurl Ravencroft is letter A. B is Rex Allen, and D is Paul Frees.
This is tough. I am just going to throw a shot in the dark here. I think it's the first one because that name sounds familiar.
That is incorrect.
Oh, man. All right. Who was it?
D, Paul Frees. He was the voice of Tony the Tiger.
Okay.
If you know who that, everyone knows who that is. And then on top of that, he was actually the original voice for oh gosh, what's it called? Carousel of Progress. He is the original voice of the father.
Interesting.
Before
I think I did know that. Now that you say it.
Yeah. And now instead of the father, he is still on the attraction as the grandfather.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that before. But sorry, I didn't know the names off the top of my head.
That an amazing voice. Amazing voice. I love the ghost.
I thought when you started asking that question, I thought you were going more towards who voiced the levitating head in the room with like the glass ball. Can't remember her name, but if you said it, I would have known it.
Yeah.
They talk about her a lot in the Imagineering story.
Yep.
All right, on to your next question for you, Bryce. And listeners, feel free to chime in. Maybe you guys were yelling the answer out on that last one that I missed. Which attraction replaced Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in Magic Kingdom?
That is Winnie the Pooh. The mini adventures on Winnie the Pooh.
Very nice. I thought you would get that because I know it's one of your favorites.
It's it's not one of my favorites, but I do enjoy that ride thoroughly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that opened.
What? Go ahead.
It opened in 1999. I didn't really know much about Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Apparently, it replaced the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, people were not happy about that when that change came around. On top of that, there's like a lot of, not a lot, but there's two, I believe, two callbacks to Mr. Toad in the attraction itself, which I think either we've talked about on the show or something. But you have that one scene where you see a picture of Owl handing the deed to Mr. Toad, and then there's also a picture or something that's actually like hidden behind you as you're going through a door, so you can only see it if you turn around. And I'm pretty sure it's just a picture of Mr. Toad.
Interesting.
So, two little Easter eggs.
I don't typically ride that attraction when I go. I think I may have done it the last time I went. So there are some subtleties in there. I think we've talked about before. The special effects in that attraction has one of the cooler scenes in all of dark rides. I would argue.
The mirror, or not mirror scene, but the scene where
like
Pooh is
the
levitating. Yeah,
it's
for
really
sure.
Cool.
That is it's a really good attraction. There's some things that, it's a very short attraction for the wait that it does have, because the wait's usually around 45 minutes, and I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's usually a longer wait.
Alrighty, let's move on. We have some people commenting, and it's Catherine saying "Go Braves," Stephanie Howard Kidd saying "We're good now" on the audio, and then my mother chimes in, "Mom in the house."
Thank you guys for joining. We're excited.
All right, what Disney movie has the most songs total? This is a multiple choice as well. Is it A, Alice in Wonderland, B, Frozen, C, Mulan, or D, Beauty and the Beast?
Man, I feel like I don't think it's Alice in Wonderland. That's like first comes to my mind. I don't think it's that one. When you said Frozen, I was like, okay, it's obviously Frozen. And then you said Mulan, and I'm starting to think through all the songs from that movie. And then you said, what was the last one again?
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. My gut says Mulan, because I feel like it has a lot of songs. I'm trying to think through all the different ones. Frozen has obviously several very famous songs. I'm going to go with Mulan. I think that's the correct answer.
That is incorrect.
Dang it, dude. You started nodding your head, man, like I was right.
No. The answer is Alice in Wonderland.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Alice in Wonderland. It has the most, and a lot of them are super short, maybe 20 to 30 seconds.
Maybe that's why
it has a total of 23 songs.
Interesting. Maybe that's why I'm like, the last time I watched it, maybe I just skipped over some of the songs, but that's a good question. That was challenging.
Yeah. No, it was surprising to me. I was like, I took that quiz on I think it was on a BuzzFeed quiz or something, but that really threw me off. I got that one wrong.
Has anybody in the chat, did they get it right?
No one's guessed. No one's guessed.
Alrighty. So my next two questions for you revolve around specifically Disney parks. We're kind of getting into the parks as a whole instead of attractions. The Disney company has had several major projects fall through for various reasons. They didn't get completed, even though they entered the design phase, sort of thing. A newly proposed park that would have been built near Washington, D.C. What was it called? And it was meant, I'll give you a hint here. It was meant to be built in the early 1990s.
I know this because I think this was mentioned on the Imagineering story, I think.
Briefly, I believe so, yes.
Was it? I know it had the word America in it. Land of America? Something like that? I don't.
Oh, what's your final guess? Don't say something like that.
Land of America? I don't know.
You're close. It's just Disney's America.
Disney's America.
Yeah, so they wanted to open up a third location in the U.S. And they tried to pick a spot that would draw tourists, that wasn't crazy weather-wise. I mean, if you go up into like New York, the Northeast, it's gonna be freezing half the year. So they tried to pick a place that was going to be good weather wise, and they bought land. I believe they purchased land near Washington D.C., and apparently it was near a Civil War battleground, and so that caused a lot of controversy with locals, with historians, and some government officials, and so it was eventually abandoned. And they go into a little bit of detail on the Imagineering story, but this was back when Michael Eisner was CEO, so he was really trying to expand Disney property, and it just ended up not working out. And honestly, this you can kind of draw lines here. I'm kind of glad it didn't work out. I don't really think that fits with the Disney style. If that had gone through, we likely would not have gotten Animal Kingdom in Florida, because the Animal Kingdom was kind of a I don't want to say afterthought, but it was what came after Disney's America failed. That was the next designed park was Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, no, I know that there's still rumors to this day of a new park opening in somewhere in the U.S. I don't think that's ever going to happen. People are saying, I think the last one I heard was like Houston, Texas, or someplace in Texas.
Huh.
One of the major cities in Texas, like right outside of it. I would never see that happening. And then I do know that, yeah, a lot of people were not happy about the placement of Disney's America. You know, stepping on toes. Don't want to disrupt anything. But yeah, I know a little bit of history from that, just from the TV show.
They apparently Disney, and I just know this because I grew up near a potential park spot. I think it fell through. They had talked about building in North Carolina, actually, in Johnston County, which is like south of Raleigh. I may be getting my lines completely crossed here, but it's my understanding that they had talked about buying land there. It was near a major city. Land is relatively cheap there. And the weather, obviously, North Carolina doesn't get too hot, doesn't get too cold. Well, I would argue it does get very hot in summers, but it's good weather, good climate. So they talked about that, but I think like a lot of the other places in the U.S., I think it's just fallen through.
Well, that'd be good for you.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice. Live that close. That's the only reason I would move to Florida. The one and only reason I'd move to Florida is so I can get a discount on my annual pass holder.
Annual pass.
and just be close enough to go.
We've talked about it. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but
Catherine says Ron says he remembers that too.
Disney's America?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty big deal.
Okay. Moving on. Mine's not as informational as your previous one. But which toy, we're moving over to Tomorrowland, which toy is not represented in a similar galactic version in Buzz Lightyear? Is it A, a Jack-in-the-Box, B, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, C, a marionette, or D, an atomic disintegrator ray gun?
I know a Jack-in-the-Box is. You are referring to like scenes throughout the attraction, right?
Correct.
Okay. Jack-in-the-Box is in that, I believe. The Rock'em Sock'em Robots. That's a very prominent scene in that ride, and then the laser gun. So I'm going to go with C is the correct answer.
It's actually D.
No way. No way. Are you serious? I'm 0 for 3. Where is the marionette in that?
I actually don't know. Let me take a look real quick.
You made it so obvious. Like, I feel like laser gun would have made more sense.
Star Command. Do you remember that TV show on Disney Plus?
Star Command? You mean Disney Channel?
Disney Channel.
Yeah, it was Buzz Lightyear show. I was thinking about that the other day. I really wish that they would put that on Disney Plus because I would watch it.
I would too. I used to love that show.
Yeah, loved it. So I saw something on Twitter, and it was someone was commenting on the, we're getting the new Lightyear movie, kind of a origin story of Buzz, and someone said we've already had the origin story of Buzz, and it was a screenshot of the cartoon that we grew up with. Of what was the show actually called? Buzz Lightyear Star Command?
Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
That's awesome.
I can't find the
Like a lot of
marionette.
memories. That's interesting.
I tried looking.
Maybe it's really subtle and doesn't stick out. Maybe that's why I'm not remembering it.
Maybe. I don't know. I got it from that book. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Alrighty. So this next one is kind of back to failed parks. Tony Baxter had detailed plans, and obviously you know who Tony Baxter is, Bryce.
I do.
Viewers, Tony Baxter is one of our favorite Imagineers. He had detailed plans for a new Disneyland resort park. What was it called?
Disneyland Resort Park.
And this was it was supposed to be constructed in the mid 90s. So you kind of getting a feel for the era.
I'm not sure I've ever heard of this.
I think you'll, once I give the answer, I think you'll remember it.
No, nothing's ringing a bell.
This park would have been incredible. And do you want me to go and say the answer?
Yeah, I have no guess. I don't know.
So it was called Westcott.
Westcott?
West, like West Coast.
Is that real?
It was a real thing. He had detailed plans, and they said they couldn't do it because of budget reasons, because it was going to be a huge expense. It was going to be similar to Epcot, celebrating technology and World Showcase.
Is it going to be
except
similar? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I know, right? The World Showcase section apparently was going to be actual hotel resorts you could stay in, and you could actually like walk the streets of the park at night. So he talked about, you could go have a night stay in the Asian pavilion and then go over to Europe and then go to Africa, and you could have these different experiences all within this park. But it's not just like World Showcase we have in Florida. It's an actual resort hotel you could go stay at.
That sounds awesome.
Dude, you should go look at some of the concept art. It looks really cool, and I really wish it would have happened.
Yeah, I had no idea that was like a real thing. I've seen it mentioned before. I don't know if they talked about it on the show, but that sounds awesome. I would totally, I would love that.
The other day, I've caught myself looking up the cost to fly to California. Go to Disneyland. Yeah,
I've done that a couple times.
I could fly it there for a weekend. It's going to be expensive. So flying is not cheap.
No, it's not. And staying on property, because if I go to Disneyland, I have to stay on property just to do it once. I know there's a bunch of hotels in that general area, but I want to stay on property, and that's not cheap out there either. So, no. All right. Next. All right. So, when making attractions, what is it that Imagineers just absolutely love to do? And that is put their name on things, right? They like to add little touches, little nods, and they also like to have fun when it comes to character names. So, going off of that, going over to Animal Kingdom, what is the name that Disney gave the scary dinosaur in Dinosaur? All right. Now, you guys have to bear with me. I see we have some viewers in the chat.
I think I know what it is. Yeah.
You're going to have to bear with me as I read these words. Ingentilius. Sorry, this is A. I'll say what they actually mean, by the way. I have it in parentheses next to it. Ingentilius pustulate carnivora. B. Formidabilis farabula. C. Carrera provita Tussaurus, or D. Carnotaurus robustus floridana. Now,
it's
what?
Okay, no, go ahead.
You know what it is?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Which one?
It's Carnotaurus. It's the last one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember Carnotaurus being like as you were reading off those names, I was like, okay, that's what it is.
All right, so
go in your spiel about why it's named that way.
For our viewers, I'll just go down all of them because they're all kind of funny. A was enormous warty meat eater. B was terrifying savage beast. C was run for your lifeosaurus. And then D, which is the correct answer, is stout meat bull from Florida.
Stout meat bull from Florida?
Correct.
I love how they go into like such detail with naming something like that because I feel like they could be lazy with naming a fictional, you know, creature.
Your mom,
But I do
your mom,
appreciate it.
your mom's calling you out. She said he finally got one right.
Okay, I don't like the trash talk.
No, there's a lot of like cool things in even in Dinoland USA. I feel like some of the I guess hidden details kind of get overlooked in there,
Yeah,
even though it's not my favorite part of the park, or really anybody's for that matter. Um, it does have some cool little things for it, little hidden gems.
yeah. All right, so I've got one more question for you, and then we can kind of segue after you're done into questions for the viewers.
Cool.
Um,
I still have my speed round for you.
I am excited for the speed round. So my last question for you, Bryce. Obviously, the Hollywood Studios has been a park that we've talked about a lot on the show, both good and bad. Arguably, the greatest attraction that was there was the Great Movie Ride, and it contained scenes from iconic films that we've grown up watching. How many different show scenes
Oh
were
no.
contained in the Great Movie Ride?
Oh no. There's no way I'm gonna be able to name all these.
That's a
Um,
bonus. You can just give me a number, and if you get it right, and then we'll walk through, I guess, all of the different show scenes. You
um,
gave me hard questions. I don't want to hear it from you.
no. I respect it. I will say 12.
You're close. It was 11.
11. Dang.
I didn't count the very ending when you got to go into the actual like theater room with the screen. I did
So
not
it is
count that.
12.
So 12 if you count that. Um, well, so in order, Footlight Parade, which I've actually never seen. That's the scene with the like pyramid of dancers. I don't know if you know.
I haven't seen that either.
And then Singing in the Rain, which is right after that.
One of my
Obviously,
favorites.
I know the movie. I've never seen it.
You've never seen Singing in the Rain?
I've not. I'm
Dude,
not
that is top 5 for me. That is in my top 5
really.
favorite. I love that
I'm
movie.
very picky with older films.
It's so good.
Next one, I think I may have.
Gene Kelly did all the choreography for that movie. All himself.
Really?
It's impressive. If you watch the movie and see the choreography, you're like, this is impressive. So yeah.
When did that come out? That was in the 40s, wasn't it? Or was it older than that?
No, it's not older than that. I believe
The 40s, 50s.
50s.
And then after Singing in the Rain, one of my favorite scenes, Mary Poppins. Then Public Enemy, which I have not seen that one. I think I've seen the new one that they redid a couple of years ago.
With Johnny Depp.
I believe so, yeah.
My mom is in the chat saying, "Come on, you must see it." I know that's one of my mom's favorite movies too. She's yelling at you too.
Gosh, I feel I'm being called out by everybody.
No.
Wrong and not seeing films. Gunslinger, which is I believe that was the Western with John Wayne. You know the scene with John Wayne? I believe that's the one that's talking about. Then, of course, the iconic scene, Alien, when it comes out of the ceiling. Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, one of my favorite trilogies of all time is that series of movies.
Yep.
I actually prefer The Last Crusade over Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think it's the
Really?
better of the series. Yes.
Okay.
Then Tarzan, Casablanca, Fantasia, and Wizard of Oz. Those are the main show scenes that were in that attraction.
What? Your mom hasn't seen Singing in the Rain either. Oh my gosh.
Runs in the
That's
family,
okay.
I guess.
That's okay. I mean, okay. Going off of that, because I don't want you to feel embarrassed. Admittedly, I'm saying this right now on live. I have never seen Alien.
Alien. It's been a long time. I think it's you watch it one time and you're like, okay, I get it. You know, this is fine. It's pretty creepy. I mean, the tagline for the movie is "In space, no one can hear you scream." So that kind of sets the tone for the movie. Yeah,
that's a cool tagline.
Yeah, it's very. I think they've made like 3 or 4 aliens.
Seen it. Catherine's like, sorry to disappoint you. I haven't seen it either.
I told you it runs in the family. So yeah, because like they raised me, right? So like if they didn't see it, I didn't see it.
No, that's
Alien, they've made like 3 or 4, and then they've made a couple prequels. Which what was the prequel's name? It'll come to me in a minute. That came out maybe 10 years ago.
Prometheus?
Prometheus, that's it. Yes, that was the prequel to Alien.
Huh.
But yeah, I dearly miss that attraction, man.
It
So
was
again,
one of my favorites.
yeah, I was watching when I was doing a little bit of research for these questions. I actually watched a ride through of the attraction, and it was really sad. Like I'll never get to experience this again. While I do really like Runaway Railway, I do miss this attraction very much.
My mom says that after watching Alien, you won't look at spaghetti the same way again.
Oh, gross! Why'd you have to say that?
That's what she said. I don't know. And then your mom's saying that you guys are having a family movie night coming up.
Singing in the Rain.
Yep.
I haven't seen Footlight Parade, Singing in the Rain, Public Enemy, and Gunslinger. I've seen all the other ones on here.
Yeah,
So.
I haven't seen Gunslinger or the original Public Enemy or Alien.
Yeah.
I think that's all of them because I've seen Casablanca.
I've seen Casablanca, so I have seen some old movies.
Yes.
Just not Singing in the Rain.
All right.
Alrighty. Do you want to do your speed round now?
Yes. Now, sorry to disappoint everyone. None of these questions are about the parks. They're strictly about Disney movies. Are you ready?
Is there a timer, or just answer them as fast as I can?
I'm calling it a speed round just because it's 8 like really short questions, but we're not going to set a timer.
Okay.
All right. Just try to answer as fast as you can. Number 1. Who trained Hercules?
Phil.
Number 2.
Voiced by Danny DeVito.
There you go. 2 points. 2. What is the name of the toy store in Toy Story 2?
Al's Toy Barn.
There you go. Number 3. What does Hakuna Matata mean?
Means no worries.
Okay. I was wondering if you're
Yeah,
going to
it's in the
stumble on that
lyrics. I
one.
mean,
Yeah,
it makes it a little bit easy. Yeah.
All right. Who was Walt's first cartoon character?
Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
And what am I on? 5?
Yes,
Sure.
5.
5. What was Pixar's first movie?
Toy Story 1.
All you need is a little faith, a little trust, and
Pixie Dust.
there you go. What was Mickey's first words?
Hot dog. This is funny because I
right.
saw that. Yeah, I saw that earlier today, actually.
Who was the first cartoon character to get a star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame?
Oh gosh. I mean, Mickey sounds like the easy answer.
Yeah.
But okay, it is Mickey.
Oh,
yeah.
were you gonna keep going?
No, it's Mickey. Yeah, that would be my guess.
All right, that's all my questions.
Cool. It's funny because one of my questions for everybody else was about Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Oh, really?
So, we knocked one of those out. I think I'll kind of dive into the story of that character. I think it's really interesting.
Mhm.
It's kind of sad for Walt at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like Walt's first, like you said, first big animated character. And he created it for, I believe, MGM, or he created it for another company. Essentially, he lost him in copyright issues. And so the company, until 2003 or 2006, somewhere in the early 2000s, Oswald was not Walt Disney's property. And I got this offline. So in 2003, Buena Vista Games pitched a concept for an Oswald-themed video game to the president and the chief operating officer at the time, Bob Iger. Man, I miss him. He really wanted to acquire Oswald. And so in 2006, the Walt Disney Company acquired Oswald for a trade. And it says with NBC Universal, they effectively traded Oswald for the services of Al Michaels, who was the play-by-play announcer for NBC Sunday Night Football. Isn't that wild?
That is insane.
So I guess this was after Disney purchased ESPN, and maybe Al Michaels worked for ESPN. So maybe he was like in the Disney family company, and they literally traded him, which I find hilarious that Al Michaels, who's one of the most iconic sportscasters, announcers of all time, got traded for a cartoon character.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I
I did not know that until I started doing a little bit of research.
I wonder how that must feel. Like, I know there's importance to it, but this is a human being traded in jobs for a cartoon character.
For an IP, for
Yeah, like
intellectual property.
you just got to think
Yeah,
about it like that for a second. Oh man, that's wild. That's crazy.
yeah, they traded the rights for Al Michaels for Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Yeah, it's could you imagine seeing? Because like, think about if that copyright issue never happened. Like, could you imagine seeing Oswald just printed all over Disney World instead of Mickey Mouse, and he's
Instead
the
of
one
Mickey.
that's in the tuxedo and all that?
Yeah, it changed. It really changed the course of Walt Disney Studios, and I guess a lot of what was to come. With the actual parks
Yeah.
later in the 50s and then the 70s. Alrighty, well, let's move to some interactive questions with our listeners. So you guys answer them in the chat, play at home. I know my nieces and my nephew are watching, so y'all play at home. In what year? So this is number one for me. Bryce, do you have any questions for our viewers?
Or is this... No, I was just gonna go off the doc.
Okay. In what year did Epcot open to the public? And I'll give a hint. It was exactly 11 years to the day after Magic Kingdom opened. So get some Jeopardy music here in the background. And Bryce, you can kind of read out as people get their answers in.
Alrighty.
Obviously, Epcot is our favorite park. We talk about it all the time.
No Googling, by the way, guys. No Googling.
No Googling. Honor system here.
All right, we have an answer. I'm going to wait just like 10 more seconds.
Okay.
Oh, we had two answers.
I would give anything to go back to Epcot in the early to mid 80s. Like in its infancy when Epcot was first opened, and like see how it was back then. Alrighty, what did people say?
All right. So Catherine says 1981 and Stephanie says 1982.
Well, Mom, you are correct. It is 1982. It was opened on October 1st, 1982. Epcot Center did. It's exactly 11 years to the day. I know we talked about it on one of our previous episodes with Card Walker, who was the CEO at the time when Epcot opened. He gave a speech at the opening of the park, and he took a lot of the same, he used a lot of quotations from Walt's opening day speech of Disneyland, which I really, really like.
Alrighty. Oh, yeah, that's right. I think I've seen a video on that actually on YouTube. You can find that somewhere on the deep dark web. Speaking of Epcot, we will go to the next question. And this is one of my favorite attractions at Epcot, if not my favorite, just for sentimental value. But how many iterations of Journey into Imagination have been in Epcot?
This is also one of my favorite attractions, and I know we talk about it a lot as it being incredibly underrated. The line's never more than 10 minutes.
Mom, that doesn't count. That you don't get credit.
I don't get credit?
No, sorry. My mom, she said, do I get credit for working at Epcot?
She worked at Epcot?
I think I told you. I
don't think I
Maybe
knew
not.
this.
Yeah, so Epcot used to have, while everyone puts in their answers, how many? Okay, we're starting to get answers. Epcot, I think this is what she did, and Mom, correct me if I'm wrong, but Epcot used to have kiosks that would have a video screen that is basically live connected to someone. It was little help kiosks, and so you'd be able to walk up to the screen, and there would be a person on the screen that you can ask a question to, and they can give you VIB tour guide. You told me something about a screen. All right, whatever.
You're getting your lines totally twisted up.
I guess I talked to my other mother.
All right, so the question, how many iterations of Journey into Imagination have there been in Epcot?
Alrighty.
What are some of the answers that came in?
We have another two answers. Liam guesses 2, and Stephanie says 3. I really have no idea. Oh, okay, my mom's saying she did do that. Man.
Well, the correct answer is we are currently on our 3rd iteration of Figment, or a Journey into Imagination with Figment. There have been 3. And my theory is there will be a fourth here in the coming years.
I'm hoping.
I think they're going to change it, and I think it'll be for the better. I think
Uh-huh.
they'll probably bring back Dreamfinder.
Yeah, I never got
Um,
to experience Street Fighter. I've heard such great things. Uh,
yeah. So
he's like some of people's favorite characters from the parks.
the original iteration opened in '83, so it was not an opening day. I don't think it was an opening day attraction in Epcot. I think it opened up the following year, and it was called Journey into Imagination. Opened up in March of '83, and it was Tony Baxter and Steve Kirk, who were obviously Tony Baxter is one of the prominent Imagineers. Steve Kirk was as well. I believe he still is involved with Imagineering. They introduced Dreamfinder as like the main character, and then Figment was kind of his sidekick of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 1999, they changed it Journey into Your Imagination, and that is where they changed it up. I think they got rid of Figment, possibly got rid of Dreamfinder. And then in 2002, after a lot of backlash, so that second iteration was only open for 2 years. After a lot of backlash, they brought back Figment into the current one we have, which has been open for 19 years. I think it's the longest standing
Some
iteration.
something that's really odd is in that second iteration, Figment was still obviously it was still like Journey into Imagination. So Figment was still the face of the attraction, but he wasn't even in the ride. He wasn't in the attraction, which is nuts.
That's really weird that they would do that.
I don't know.
There was a
what
lot of
going
backlash
through
because
their
like
head there.
Figment is so beloved, like as a park icon and character. I don't know why they would ever take him away.
All right.
Alrighty. So this is a question. I know you're looking at the list now, so you get to cheat. But this really surprised me when I started doing research on it. What is the top grossing Disney Studios film of all time? Now that includes anything that is owned by Disney currently. This really surprised me, and you guys can get your answers in. The top 5 movies are all movies that I really like. Actually, we'll get into that here in a second. Bryce, let me know when people start getting their answers in here. Yeah. Like I said, this one really surprised me. I thought
this surprised you.
Yes, it did. I didn't think. I guess in a way it doesn't surprise me. I guess when I started researching the question, I was thinking on a different vein than what the actual top grossing film is. Mm-hmm. I believe it's in the top 2 or 3 all time across the board, even outside of Disney Studios. But has anybody guessed yet?
Not yet.
Bryce? Not yet.
Not.
Yeah, I'm looking through the list here, and some really, really solid movies, and I'm critical of some of them.
Bryce, hold on, I'm looking right now. Critical. Yes. Wow. Okay. Number 4 is interesting.
That is what surprised me. I think I thought. I guess we'll wait till we can say the answer first. But, yeah, I had a lot of surprises in this list here.
Okay, hold on. We have some people that missed the question.
Okay. Question was, what is the top grossing film in Disney Studios history? And we'll kind of, I've got the top 5. I get to have the top 20 pulled up, but we can walk through the top 5.
All right, we have
so I think it's really interesting.
One answer. We're going to wait for one more.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is to me, this list isn't that surprising. Other than that one.
Yeah. Number 4 kind of surprised me a bit. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that, well, I guess I'm not. I thought that 1 and 2 would be a little closer together. Mm-hmm. There's a pretty big disparity in money earned between 1 and 2. All right. Do you want to go ahead and read off?
Sure. There we go. Okay. So, we have Catherine. She's going on a whim and saying Frozen. Lee, my mother, says Pirates of the Caribbean. And Stephanie, your mother, says Avatar.
Okay. So, Avatar, I don't believe the actual film is owned by Disney Studios. I know that they are able to build with that intellectual property. That's why we have Pandora. That is not on the list, but I do believe that that is still in the top 3 or so grossing films of all time. Frozen was my first guess, so that's what surprised me. I immediately went to Frozen. And I thought this film is incredibly popular.
See, I thought it would be Frozen because of the hype that was going around Frozen when it came out, and then on top of that, they did a re-release with the sing-along version, and
Yeah,
those combined, I thought, but I don't
and
know how
then
well it
what?
did overseas.
Pirates of the Caribbean is in the top 20. I think it falls at number 20 of Disney movies.
Wow.
The number one grossing film in Disney Studios history is Avengers Endgame, and it made almost $3 billion worldwide. In second place behind that is the return of Star Wars. So in 2000, I guess it was 2012, I think, somewhere around there.
I think it was
2015? No, 2015.
yeah.
2015, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens released, and it made just over $2 billion. So there's like almost $1 billion difference between
Mm-hmm.
the one and two. And then Avengers Infinity War made a little bit less than Star Wars, a little over 2 billion, which that's my favorite of the Marvel films. I prefer Infinity War over Endgame. And then number 4, which surprised Bryce and I, The Lion King
Yeah.
made 1.7 billion, but it's not the original. It's the remake that came out in 2019.
I never
Confession.
saw it.
I haven't seen it. I wasn't really keen on it. I didn't really care to see it. And then at number 5, the original Avengers with 1.5 billion. Those are huge numbers. But yeah, I find that list kind of surprising. I thought it was going to be Frozen, or maybe the original Lion King, even more so. Alrighty, let's move to our next question. Bryce, you wanna hit the next question?
Gotcha. All right. So we're moving overseas. Tokyo Disneyland was the first international Disney park, which opened on April 15th, 1983. Which country was home to the second international park? And
So obviously,
if you've seen the Imagineering story, you might know this because it was a pretty big deal on the Imagineering story.
yes, very big deal.
Very big deal. I mean, just in general, but on the show, it was like a big deal. They made a whole episode about it almost.
Obviously, we have the original park in California, and then they expanded to Florida, and then went to Tokyo. That was the first international park in 1983. That was a really big deal. One, because it was the first time that Disney had constructed a park outside of the U.S. So there was the whole logistical issue of transitioning out of the country, both culturally and, they talk about it on the same series, the Imagineering story, about how like they had a lot of issues, not really issues, but a lot of work had to be done converting to the metric system, which like we don't really think about that, but it's like that was an actual thing they had to do. They had to convert from their plans to metric system. Has anybody gotten answers in yet, Bryce?
We have one. Oh, we have 2, 3. Alrighty. Ron says Hong Kong. Stephanie says Hong Kong. And Catherine says Disneyland Paris.
Well, Catherine, you were correct.
You were correct. That was a good question. I've always wanted to go to Disneyland Paris. It looks absolutely beautiful. And I know you've got the dates here for every single park that's opened all around the world. Anaheim, 1955. Orlando, 1971. Tokyo, 1983. Paris with 1992. Hong Kong with 2005. And then what is that?
Shanghai.
Jeez Louise. I think
Shang-Chi. We're so caught up on the Marvel movie.
Yeah, I know. That's like when I saw that, I'm like, that's the first thing that popped in my head. 2016.
Yeah, so that's on my bucket list. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but go to every Disney park.
Oh, that was Liam's answer. He wants credit, so congratulations to Liam.
Good job, Liam. Nice. Little Disney historian. They kind of, I really like how each CEO has kind of left and each president has kind of like left their mark. Obviously Walt had Anaheim, his brother Roy had Orlando. Card Walker had Tokyo being the first expansion out of the U.S., and then Michael Eisner being Paris, and it was like a beautiful park. I mean, it was. If you look at some of the pictures and videos of that park, it's really really pretty. It looks like it's straight out of a princess movie. It's really cool.
Which that was their goal, was to make it look. Basically, they took a lot of inspiration from Sleeping Beauty, from the animation, how everything was more like blocked style, if you get what I'm saying. Everything was more corners and squares and shapes, and so that's why all their bushes and stuff all over the park are shaped that way, and that's why the entire park is more focused on the beauty of everything rather than down in Magic Kingdom it's more kind of classic America. Now it's beautiful, like older Europe style.
Yeah. And it's really interesting that they had to cater more towards that culture, because the French people, they admire that beauty. They value that kind of intricacy that is in the construction there. And I think it's really cool that they did that. And then I believe both Hong Kong and Shanghai were opened by Bob Iger, correct? Hong Kong.
2005. So
yeah,
that'd be Bob
so he
Iger.
opened both of those. And Shanghai, its castle is massive. I mean, if you see that, it's kind of, I guess, characterized as being the biggest castle, which I find really cool. Alrighty. Do you have something else to say about international parks?
No, I was reading. I'm sorry.
Okay. So in the Magic Kingdom in Florida, there is one land that is unique that is not in Disneyland Anaheim. What is the name of that land? And we'll give y'all a few seconds to answer that question. I think it's really interesting that they made this unique land specific to Magic Kingdom of Florida, and it kind of stems back to a lot of Walt's original loves for certain things. So that's all I'll say until we get the answers in. It's a very, very cool part of the park. It houses my favorite. This will be a hint. Houses my favorite counter service restaurant. Not gonna say the name of it, but let me know once people start getting answers in, Bryce.
Yeah.
We'll,
no answers as of yet, but yeah, I love this section of the park. There's a lot of cool little details, and then it's, I guess, counterpart over in Disneyland that's different. I've always wanted to go there because I've heard they have some good food.
Yes, yeah, I've always wanted to go over to Disneyland specifically to see this counterpart, I guess you could say, especially the marquee attraction that is contained in that part of Disneyland.
Yes. All right, we have one answer, so I'm gonna wait. Oh, all right, we'll run with it. Stephanie says Frontierland. Catherine says Liberty Square.
Catherine, you're correct. I bet that was Liam's answer. She's just taking credit for her son's knowledge. Yeah, it's Liberty Square. So Walt wanted to build an area, or they wanted to build an area based on Walt's love for his country. The land contains, a lot of subtle touches that kind of take you through time in U.S. history. Things such as like the architecture that you see are actually, it's modeled after the different architectural styles through the years, as well as the lamps hanging in the trees, the lamps hanging around on the streets are modeled specific, like after time periods. And then the concrete, if you look down the concrete, it has a specific color. In the middle, it's brown. On the outside, it's red. Now it's because they did not have indoor plumbing, and I'll leave your imagination to translate what I just said. Frontierland is in both Disneyland and Disney World, as well as I believe most parks around the world.
Catherine said that was her. That was her answer. Was her. So she wants credit for that one. And then talking about what I was kind of talking about before I could really put any names to it. Liberty Square has kind of like a counterpart over in Disneyland, if you've ever been over there. New Orleans Square, which looks incredible. The theming of it looks incredible. I'm a big fan of like New Orleans. I've always wanted to go to New Orleans just for the architecture alone, as
It's
well
really cool.
as like you were saying, to ride Haunted Mansion there and see the big difference that there is. I'm assuming that's the marquee attraction you were talking about.
Oh, that one, yes, but I was talking more about Pirates of the Caribbean
Oh,
because that,
I forgot that's over there too. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like it's really subtle. Like the gate, based on what I've seen, obviously I've never been there, but the gate is just like in the side of this building
Hmm.
that looks like French Quarter, um, and that's the big difference in the attraction is you start and it's more like in the bayou as opposed to being in the Caribbean, which I
Yep.
find really really cool.
There's like
Not sure what I think about it yet, but
there's a whole scene that's at the front of it that you
mhm.
don't get in
Yeah,
Florida, as well as some beignet sandwiches that I've seen that look really good. So
beignets are really good.
beignets are good, and just think about ham and all that other goodness inside of it. Oh man, I'm hungry.
We went to New Orleans a couple of years ago, Sydney and I,
Hmm.
and the food is ridiculous. That was probably my favorite part. I mean, the architecture is really cool, but the food is really good. The beignets are fantastic. We went to two separate places, two different places. Cafe Du Monde, which is like the famous one,
Hmm.
and then we went to another place, and I cannot remember the name of it. We've had this discussion recently. I think it's called like Morning Rise or something like that. But it was really really solid beignets.
Nice, nice. All right, well, let's move on to the next question if I can pull it up. Alrighty. What are the names of the two tracks on Space Mountain in Tomorrowland? They have big signs. They're not left and right. I'll
It's
throw that
not.
out
It's
there.
not.
It's
It's
not
not
left and
track
right.
one and track two.
No. There's
Um,
two names specifically that you get a sign to go to the left or the right. What are those two names?
I think the older I've gotten, the more I have a love and appreciation for this attraction. Um, I think the fact that it was an original attraction to Walt Disney World instead of something coming over from California, I really like that. That it was kind of like has its own touch. That it originated in Florida,
Hmm.
because that's our home park. Um, and I think I really appreciate the kind of minimalist style that the ride is. I mean, it's very modern and futuristic. It's very different from the other mountains and a lot of the other marquee attractions in Magic Kingdom. So the older I get, I think I really really like this ride. I know that we've talked about it before. Uh, Listening to the music, God, the music on Space Mountain is awesome.
I could easily just sit in the queue line and I would be perfectly fine.
Yes, that's one attraction that like I'm okay with waiting because I get to listen to the
You
listen
get
to
to play
the
those little
the
space
music.
games too, with the buttons where you're shooting
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah. And then what's really cool that I feel like it's kind of an overlooked. I don't know if it's technically an illusion or what you want to classify it as, but walking down the hallway and you see those like warped windows where you, when you're walking by, you see the stars going by like shooting stars. I feel like a lot of
yeah.
people kind of. I mean, obviously everyone notices it, but I feel like no one really talks about that as far as like cool little details that you'll find in the queue. Um, my mom says Cafe Du Monde is the best.
It was fun. It was a really cool experience to go down there. All right. Has anybody gotten answers in about the names of the two tracks?
We have one answer. You just want to go with it?
Let's go with it. I think they've
All
had enough
right.
time.
My mother says Alpha and Omega. And she says Omega is smoother and Alpha is faster.
That is correct
That
on
is correct.
the names of the attractions or the names of the tracks, Alpha and Omega.
They are both the
I
same speed, though.
believe they're the same speed. Alpha is 13 feet longer than Omega. You have a little bit of extra track there, but I believe it's the same. They kind of mirror each other. I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure. So they have similar ride experiences. One is a little bit longer than
I
the
don't
other.
know. Maybe they don't go the same speed because she worked there and I didn't. So maybe she knows something I
Maybe we're
don't.
overlooking something.
I guess.
I think it's really, really interesting that in the construction of that ride, the ride only goes what 25 miles an hour, something like that, 30.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very fast, and it feels like you're gonna die every time you're on that attraction. I feel like I'm gonna lose my head if I lift my arms. They're gonna get cut off by the track above me. There's no way you can convince me that I can't touch the track if I did this. I mean,
Yep.
I'm not short. I'm 6 foot tall. Like I'm sure I could touch the track. And every time I ride it, no matter how many times I've ridden it in the past, I'm always convinced I'm going to die. So I think that the fact that they were able to convey that sort of terror in their guests from a ride that only goes like 28, 29, 30 miles an hour, somewhere in that range, I think is really, really cool and kind of gives this illusion that you're going way faster than you actually are.
Catherine, did you get that from TikTok? Because I heard the same thing, but it was from TikTok. I'm just curious.
TikTok is, believe it or not a valid research platform.
hey, there's a lot of good stuff you can learn about on TikTok. You send me
Yeah,
half of it.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok way too much.
She said she recently heard that Space Mountain is the same speed as the Barnstormer, and she said maybe I got it from TikTok.
I don't doubt that. I think just because you're in the dark, it makes you feel like you're going way faster.
Yeah, there's one drop specifically where I feel like I'm definitely gonna hit it when I go down.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Because there's just enough light you can see the track around you, just enough to freak you out.
That's why I never want to ride it with the wind or with the lights on. Never.
I've never ridden it with the lights on, but I've been on the People Mover before when the lights were on.
Okay.
Which is really, really cool.
I know that's like some people's dream. Some people's dream is getting escorted off of an attraction because it broke down. Some people's dream is riding Space Mountain with the lights on, and I respect it. I get it. You know, that's like a bucket list thing. I don't want to personally do that because part of the thrill that I have with Space Mountain is that idea that maybe this is going to be the one that does it. Maybe this is going to be the one that kills me.
Every time. I mean, without fail, I feel like I'm going to die on that one.
Yes.
So speaking of like attractions with the lights off, I think I've told the story before of when I believe I was with my mom and sister and we got stuck on Tower of Terror at the transition scene. It's when the elevator starts moving forward and you're in the hallway, and we left the elevator shaft and we're going through and it just stops. And we sat there for like 20 minutes, nothing's happening. And then the emergency lights come on and we get to actually exit our vehicle. So like I've walked through that part of Tower of Terror, which was, I think, one of the cooler claims that I can say about Disney.
That is pretty cool. Your mom says that she has ridden it with the lights on, and it's scarier with the lights on than off. Catherine says that's my nightmare. She said getting escorted off the Tower of Terror was terrifying. I don't know if she typed that out like right before you mentioned that story or not, but yeah.
It's weird because I mean the whole attraction is based on an elevator that fails, horribly fails, and you get onto this like actual maintenance elevator that looks like every other elevator you go in, and just like does not fit the setting at all. So I found that pretty funny.
You would think that they would theme all of that still, but I mean, you can understand why not, because there's probably safety hazards that can cause.
There's got to be codes.
Yeah.
I know Florida's pretty lenient on a lot of things. I don't think that's one of them.
No.
Alrighty, so we've got one more question, and this is for Liam, buddy. I know you're gonna like this question. Bryce, do you wanna read it off?
I'll go for it. Alrighty. How many animals call Disney's Animal Kingdom home?
This blew my mind. I didn't think it'd be this many.
I had an idea it'd be around this much. I don't want to give anything away. If you don't know, just throw out a random number. Whatever you're thinking, just throw it out there.
It's probably more than what you're thinking. But obviously a large part of that is due to the safaris attraction, the Kilimanjaro safaris. If you didn't know this, it is by far the largest Disney attraction across all 4 parks. And the entirety of Magic Kingdom can actually fit inside of Kilimanjaro Safaris. So if you take everything that exists in Magic Kingdom, you could put it inside Kilimanjaro Safaris, which is 110 acres. And then the entirety of Magic Kingdom is only 107. So that kind of gives you some scale of how big Animal Kingdom is, but also Kilimanjaro Safaris, which I know we've talked about it on several episodes in the past, and I know it's like one of my brother's favorite attractions, and
Hmm.
obviously my nephew who loves animals loves this attraction. I think it's consistently one of the best attractions in Disney.
You know
It's like
what's
it's never.
you know
Go
what's
ahead.
great about this attraction is it never has to be, well, other than the cars and stuff and maybe a little bit of the scenery, doesn't have to be renovated because every experience is different. No matter what year you ride it, no matter what day you ride it, everything's going to be different. So it's not something that you have to constantly have. There's going to be new technologies coming in and stuff like that. It's all. I feel like this is an attraction that's always going to be there.
It's gonna be a timeless attraction.
Exactly. And the Imagineering behind it is spectacular. Like the fact that they were able to basically have these wide open plains that make it look like animals are just free reign, you know, with predators, prey, all that, but they're all separated and they actually have barriers that are natural to us looking at these things, you know, like a wall of rocks. You wouldn't really think twice about it, but that's a barrier. That's to keep anything violent from happening,
Yeah,
which would be very bad at Disney.
yeah. Have
Uh,
people brought in some answers?
yes. Alrighty. We have 4 answers this time. My mom says 1725. Your mom says 300. Catherine says 1,000. Your mom's changing her answer to 750. Um, and then Sydney says 875.
You all lowballed it. They have around, and give or take a few, 2,000 animals, and it is across 300 different species. All live inside the animal kingdom.
Good job, mom. You're the
Which,
closest.
yeah, you were very close.
1725. That's
It's a very just specific answer. Um, yeah, I find that to be awesome that they're able to really develop a park that doubled as a theme park. I mean, you get a lot of stories told, you have a lot of attractions and thrills, while also being educated like you were at a zoo. And so
mhm.
I find that to be one of the more impressive things about this park that they were able to really combine the two in a very natural way that didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like they were trying to shove all these educational things and this conservation, the fight of conservation down your throat. It was very natural feeling. And it was like Animal Kingdom. It literally, like when you walk in, it's like, oh, this has always been here. They didn't just
Mhm.
build this 20 years ago. Like this place has always been here. It's that tree has to be real. Tree of life has to be real. And the animals were meant to be there. That's how convincing they were with building this park.
Yeah, and going back to going back to the number of animals and all that, like you got to think about all the birds that they have within the park. They have the parrot show, which is really cool if you have not seen that. It's actually kind of crazy how well trained these birds are. And then of course all the animals when you're walking into the park and alligators over to the side. It's there's a lot of animals in this park.
Let's just all go to Disney's Animal Kingdom and count them all.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, Bryce, did you have anything else you want to add?
No, not for this. This was a lot of fun.
I say we do it again. I had a good time. Um, Viewers, listeners, thank you much. Thank you so much for joining us. We
Yeah.
appreciate you giving some input and joining us tonight. We're not really gonna have any ending notes because this is obviously a live episode. But if you're not already, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Right Down Main Street. We really appreciate y'all's support um, over the last almost a year. Right, I
Yeah.
joined in March, so coming up on we're on around 7 months now.
You joined in March? Was it March?
I believe it was March. Yeah,
I think it was around March. Yeah. Huh.
yeah. Our first episode was the Would You Rather, right? I
Mhm.
know we revisited that last week. That was our first episode together.
Yeah.
So,
Good times. Good times.
but thank you guys so much for joining us. And you can rewatch this on YouTube and Facebook,
Mhm.
as well as it's going to be on the podcast page, so you can listen to it or watch it.
Yeah. I will be working on getting the audio up tonight. Probably won't be up until maybe a little bit later. Um, later tomorrow. That way I can, strip all the audio and stuff from the video. But this was a lot of fun. This was a cool, like, testing of the waters kind of thing. Everyone seems to agree. Everyone seems to have a good time. So yeah, I think we should definitely do more of this and have some more like trivia and like some more, I guess, more interactive stuff.
We'll give out prizes next time. How about that?
Yes,
We need to give out some,
I think we should give out some
merch.
merch. Some merch would be
Yes.
good. Stickers, T-shirts, hoodies, whatever you guys want.
Yeah.
But,
awesome.
Yeah, you wanna close it out like you usually do?
Like I always do. Until next time, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Keep that Disney magic. We'll see you real soon.